the deeper truth about love. What if everything you've been taught about love is only half the truth? What if love isn't just about romance, feelings, or even words? What if true love, the kind that lasts, the kind that changes lives, is something much deeper, much harder, and much more beautiful than we ever imagined? The world has taught us that love is a feeling, something we fall into and out of, something that sweeps us off our feet. We see it in movies, in songs, in social media posts filled with grand romantic gestures, surprise vacations, candle-lit dinners, and expensive gifts. And while those things aren't necessarily bad, they can sometimes create a false image of what love truly is. The Bible gives us a different definition, one that is raw, sacrificial, and filled with action. Take a moment and think about the greatest love story ever told. No, it's not Romeo and Juliet. It's not the latest romance novel or blockbuster film. It's the story of Jesus Christ. Love wasn't just something he spoke about. It was something he lived. The Bible tells us in John chapter 15, verse 13, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Jesus didn't just express his love in words. He showed it through service. He knelt down and washed the feet of his disciples, including the one who would betray him. He healed the sick, fed the hungry, and welcomed the outcasts. And then, in the greatest act of love in history, he willingly gave his life on the cross for people who didn't deserve it. That is love in action. And Jesus wasn't the only one who demonstrated love through sacrifice. Let's talk about Ruth. Ruth was a Moabite woman who had married into an Israelite family. When her husband died, she had every reason to go back to her homeland, to her own people, to start a new life. That would have been the logical, easy choice. But instead, she chose to stay with her widowed mother-in-law, Naomi. In Ruth chapter 1, verse 16, she makes one of the most powerful declarations of love in Scripture. "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." This was no small decision. Ruth was leaving behind everything familiar, her culture, her security, even her gods, to follow Naomi into an uncertain future. She didn't know how they would survive, where they would live, or if she would ever marry again. But her love for Naomi was not about convenience or comfort. It was a love of action. When they arrived in Bethlehem, Ruth didn't sit around waiting for someone to help them. She went to work in the fields, gleaning leftovers so they could eat. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy. But that's what love does. It moves, it serves, it sacrifices. And then there's the story of the Good Samaritan. This parable, found in Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37, was Jesus' way of redefining love. A man was traveling when he was attacked by robbers, beaten, and left half dead on the side of the road. A priest walked by. A Levite walked by. Two religious men, people who were supposed to be godly, saw him and did nothing. They had their reasons, of course. Maybe they were busy. Maybe they were afraid. Maybe they thought someone else would help. But then, a Samaritan, a person from a group that was despised by the Jews, came along. He didn't just feel sorry for the injured man. He didn't just whisper a prayer and walk away. He stopped. He bandaged his wounds. He put him on his donkey, took him to an inn, and paid for his care. Jesus used this story to answer a simple but profound question. Who is my neighbor? The answer? Anyone in need. Love isn't about feelings or convenience. Love is action. Love gets its hands dirty. Love costs something. Think about the people in your own life. How often do we say, "I love you," but fail to show it through action? Maybe there's a family member who needs your time, but you're too busy. Maybe there's a friend who needs encouragement, but you keep forgetting to check in. Maybe there's a person in your church who is struggling financially, and you have the means to help, but you're hesitant. Love is not passive. It is not just words or feelings, it is something you do. 1 John chapter 3, verse 18 says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." That means love isn't just a social media post. It's not just a kind word in passing. It's a choice, a daily decision to put someone else's needs above our own. Think about Jesus again. He spent his entire ministry showing love through action. He didn't just tell people God loved them, he fed them, he healed them, he wept with them. He didn't just say, "I care about you." He touched the leper that no one else would touch. He restored the woman caught in adultery when others wanted to stone her. He invited sinners to his table. He could have stayed in heaven, but he came down to be with us. That is love. So, what does this mean for us? It means we have to stop seeing love as something we only feel, and start seeing it as something we do. It means calling that friend who's been distant. It means forgiving that person who hurt you, even when they don't deserve it. It means serving when no one sees, giving when no one thanks you, and loving when it's inconvenient. This kind of love is rare, it's radical, and it's exactly the kind of love God calls us to. So, I want to challenge you today. Who can you serve? Who can you show love to? Not just in words, but in action. Maybe it's your spouse, your child, your coworker, or even a stranger. Maybe it's through a simple act of kindness, like paying for someone's meal or offering a word of encouragement. Or maybe it's something bigger, like sacrificing your time to help someone in need. The world needs more of this kind of love, and you have the power to be part of it. If this message has spoken to you, I want you to do two things. First, put love into action this week. Find one way to serve someone without expecting anything in return. And second, if you want to hear more biblical truths that challenge and inspire, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Let's live out love together. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.